Yo, we are back. I'm in a great day. It's a great day today, man. Kingdom Citizens, what's going on? Kingdom Ox, remember all the social medias right there in the bottom. I'm gonna have to replace that TikTok soon. I think it's a wrap for them. But anyway, all the social medias, Kingdom Ox, man. I am here. We call him Big Bro. If you like track stars, we call this man Big Bro because he's like a big brother to us. We started around the same times after that conversation we had. I was like, oh, we started around the same time. I am here with a legend in our space, man. DJ Radio. DJ Radio. I'm sorry. DJ Wado. I said radio. I don't know why I said radio, but I was thinking about radio.
Bro.
Yeah, it's messed up. But anyway, Wado is in the building today, man. I am excited, bro. How are you, my friend? How are you, dude?
Hey man, I'm good, man. I moved down here to North Carolina a few years ago and we got some snow. And so I'm still like it really snowed down here.
Was it bad? Like I know we got snow here and it melted like quick once the sun came out.
Hey bro, it wasn't even an inch, but it shut the city down.
Yeah. Oh, well, see, okay. So you new to the South. See, let me tell you something. Being in the South for 20 years, no, honestly, yeah. 25. So being in the South for so many years, bro.
Yeah.
Like I was so used to snow coming up to like my waist.
Right.
It like shut down because Jersey, of course, me and you know it is.
Uh-huh.
So when I got down here and it was like, okay, they got 3 inches, school closing, all the school closed, all the stores were shutting down. I was like, for this? But when you drive around Georgia, they got a lot of hills.
Yeah.
And hills with ice is no joke. So I understand. So yeah.
I think it's that. And I think, it's investing in the kind of equipment and resources you have up north.
Yeah.
This is the first time it snowed here in like 3 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I mean? So it's like investing in all of that, the snow plows, the salt, all the stuff that they do is just it's also not worth it. You know what I mean?
And I think the thing also too is like they're just not prepared for it. But in that sense, you really wouldn't be prepared for it, like you said, because I think the last time it snowed in Georgia was a while, man. Because I've been in my house for like a couple years and we haven't gotten, this was the first time receiving snow at my house. So and me and my wife been here for about 5 years. So wow. I think this is the first time we really had snow. So at our old place that we was in an apartment, we had snow, but this was the first time our house got snow. So
that's crazy.
I want to hear the story of Rado. Because I've heard bits and pieces.
Okay.
But just let's just start with the story, man. How did you get involved with everything? Just tell your story from the beginning. You don't have to start like baby coming out as a baby, but you could just let's hear a story, bro.
Yeah, so I do think some of my childhood I probably do need to tell a little bit of it because it is definitely influenced me going into the direction of just doing music in general.
So,
I grew up in a household. My parents aren't musicians or anything like that, but they loved music. So, there was Anita Baker, there was Georgia Mass Choir, there was a bunch of jazz records that my dad had, and so that got me into music, right?
Yeah.
And so, I'm in high school, so this is telling my age a little bit. Tribe Called Quest, Wu-Tang Clan, Biggie, Jay-Z, Pac, like, I loved all those artists. Well, my dad he's like, yo, I got the record that they sampled this from.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? And so that deepened my love for music, which is, obviously a big component of, what I've been doing professionally the last 25 years. And so long story short, I go away to college. I went to Howard University and that's where I learned to DJ.
Dope.
Yeah, I met a brother by the name. His real name is Marcus Williams, but his stage name is DJ Infinite. He works to this day with Ninth Wonder and Tiny Desk concerts and all of that stuff. Like, dude is a beast. But he had a radio show on Howard University's student-run radio station, WHBC 830 AM. And I used to go up there with him freshman year, and he was a real DJ. So, he was cutting and scratching and I said, yo, I gotta get some turntables. Like I gotta learn how to do this. And so, I bought some turntables, some Gemini turntables. that summer, and the whole next year of my life I dedicated to learning how to DJ. I didn't take lessons or anything. I didn't like go to anyone and show me. I literally would listen to the DJs that were spinning on the radio in DC. So 6 Cents, Funk Regulator, CeeLo. My dude Alizé wasn't on the radio yet. But we ended up doing a lot of work together. DJ Analyze, definitely. And I would just listen to them and I would write down the records that they had that they were in their mix. And if I didn't have them, I would go to the store and buy them. And then I would literally try to recreate the mix. So I would record them on cassette tapes and I would try to recreate the mix. And that's how I was the DJ.
Wow.
And so that was like my sophomore year. Junior year, I started doing events. So I'm doing stuff for the fraternities and sororities on campus. We had this huge rap battle called Verbal Armageddon. So I'm DJing for that. And mind you, my stage name isn't DJ Wado at that point. My name is DJ Odyssey.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Like cases, like the travel cases you buy for your turntables.
Yeah.
I just put 2 D's instead of 2 S's.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And so I was going by DJ Odyssey. And then my senior year, man, I mean, bro, I'm doing big events. I'm doing Howard Homecoming. I'm doing NBA All-Star Weekend. I'm on this TV show called 5 Minutes of Fame. And we had DMX come through and DJ Clue come through. And you know what I mean? I opened up for Clue at the Ritz.
Oh, wow.
And so just crazy stuff happening. Then one of my really good friends, Mo Brown, he got on at this nightclub called Dream at that point. It later became Love. It was like the biggest club on the East Coast. And he was one of the managers. And he was like, bro, I'm gonna get you in here DJing. So this is around like graduation or whatever. So long story short, also at that time, I had some friends who were Christians. And I grew up in church. So it's not like Christianity was foreign to me. I grew up going to church. But I had some friends who were Christians. And one of them, his name is Osaze Murray. He's a Christian rapper as well. He's also a minister. He does the Navigators at Bowie State's campus now.
Okay.
He leads that. But he was basically evangelizing me back then. And he gave me this book called Revelation that was written by Mace, at Mace, right?
Yeah.
And so I read that book and I had so many questions. I was just like, yo, like this dude had everything that I wanted at the time.
Yeah.
Money, the fame, girls, all of that stuff. I'm like, but he gave that up because it wasn't enough. And so I was in the process. I just graduated, like literally just graduated, like the day before I finished this book. Like literally. So graduation was on Mother's Day. This is Mother's Day Sunday. This was Mother's Day. No, this was Mother's Day.
Oh, wow.
I graduated on Mother's Day Saturday. That's when the graduation always is. This is Mother's Day Sunday. I finished the book. And I said, man, I got to go see this for myself. So, bro, I drove to Atlanta. I was supposed to go up to Jersey because I was moving to Jersey.
Yeah.
I was supposed to go up there to look for apartments. And I said, man, I got to go see this for myself. So I went to Atlanta and looked for his church. And he was in a school at that point.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, I could go into super details on this, but that experience is what made me give my life to Christ.
Wow.
And me giving my life to Christ meant for me that I could no longer do secular music.
Wow.
I just didn't understand at that stage how the two could coexist.
Yeah.
And so, I ended up moving to Jersey. I didn't do anything music related for like 2 years. A year after that experience, though, that same homie Osaze took me to Rap Fest with him. Right. So Rap Fest was a huge festival that took place in the Bronx. So this is Rap Fest. I think it's 2003.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was my first experience with Christian rap. You know what I mean? And that kind of started wetting the palate, like, oh, okay, like I can use my gift in this way. But I had a corporate job too. So it's like I'm making money. I didn't really fully understand that there was a whole community. I mean, the internet in 2003 wasn't like what it is now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
So there wasn't Instagram and TikTok, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There was MySpace at that point, but I wouldn't say there was a Christian rap community on MySpace. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The community was at that point, you had Sphere of Hip Hop, you had the Holy Culture Radio forums, but that wasn't like a widespread thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
And
I know
that. And so yeah, man. So long story short, a couple years later, I had a youth pastor that really encouraged me to figure out how to use my gift of music and DJing for the Lord. And that was how Wado Radio was birthed. You know what I mean? So shout out to Mark Johnson. I always got to give him his flowers and love, man, because I'm probably not doing this without Mark. You know? And so that's kind of how I got into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you know, I had slowly started buying CDs after that Rap Fest experience. I mean, I think the first time I went to a Christian bookstore, I got Cross Movement Holy Culture.
Okay.
Grits Factors of 7, I believe. No.
The Art of Translation.
Art of Translation, because that I did get Factors of 7, but Art of Translation had Ooh Ah on there.
Yeah.
And I had never heard Ooh Ah. It was just those were just the 2 CDs that the bookstore was really pushing. So, I mean, you know how that game was, bro.
Yeah, man. I ain't gonna front, bro. I used to go to the Christian bookstore all the time to pick up records. Like I bought, like I got a case full of CDs because my first turntables was CDs because I didn't get into vinyl later. But I think the thing for me was more because I was finding artists, so many artists, and then like you said, those chat boards were saying, "Yo, you know, Tunnel Rat's new album is coming out this day. These people coming out. These people coming out." And I remember buying New Breed. I don't know if you remember them. I bought their album on like at a regular record store because I found out that they had like 2. But the problem with the Family Christian Bookstore, and I guess this is where I started like helping people come up like those list kind of things. I remember one time they was like, "Yo, if you want Jada Kiss, okay." If you yeah. If you want, and on the list it was like, if you're a fan of Jada Kiss, you should try Hezekiah Walker. And I was like, no,
not Hezekiah.
I was like, wait, I was like, no, okay, I got to do something. So my church ended up having a bookstore, and I made a list like of stuff because I knew who was who and like who had that sound or what you was looking for. So I think to me, I was like, man, the Christian bookstore, it played its part.
Yeah.
But bro, it was hard up in there. So
well, I think just from talking to people who are a little older than me that was in the Christian rap a little sooner than me, I think one of the things that probably happened with the Christian bookstores is you didn't have people who were as connected to the culture the way folks like us are. So they were probably doing their best. Like they probably said Jada Kiss and Hezekiah Walker because they both from New York. But you know what I mean? They didn't think about like just because you from New York didn't, you know what I mean? That's 2 different sounds. You know what I mean? And so I think, you know, sometimes, and especially I think in spaces that are majority white, you know what I mean? They just didn't always understand urban culture. And again, the internet wasn't the same way it is now. I mean, now I think a lot of that stuff is a lot more readily accessible. I mean, you know, you see like slang terms and stuff that, you know, we use in our communities. Everybody's using it now because of the internet. Like, oh, I heard such and such say this on TikTok, or you know what I mean? So, you know.
But go back in the story. You said something in it that was really key to me that I don't think a lot of people do. You know what I'm saying? I think when you said for 2 years I was off. You know what I'm saying? Right? I got saved 2 years. I didn't DJ. I didn't do anything. I just kind of studied and everything. Talk about the importance of them 2 years, bro.
I mean, those 2 years are were super foundational for me because I think it just helped me understand. I didn't even know what a professional Christian was at that point. It just helped me just focus on developing a relationship with the Lord without figuring out how to do ministry simultaneously.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? While I'm early in my walk. So, I mean, I was making mistakes, bro. Like, I mean, so here's the truth of it, right? Like, I loved hip hop and I didn't understand this whole, I was still trying to figure out what holiness looked like and, the do's and don'ts and, all of that stuff. Like, bro, like I went to Kanye's first show in New York City, like at
Wow.
SOBs, like during that time, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Just trying to, I was like, man, it's funny because I was managing Osaze at the time.
Yeah.
And I should say this. I did do a few Christian events, right? Like
Yeah.
I did some stuff with him, but I mean, bro, I remember I gave his CD to like Twista and some other people that was in Kanye's crew at the time because I was just trying to figure out how do you merge hip hop and the gospel. And he hadn't released Jesus Walks, but he performed it that night for the first
Oh
time.
wow.
You know what I mean? Yeah,
What was you doing with that? Like, did you hear him perform that and you was like, yo,
that was my like, bro, I was like, I was confused, if I'm honest with you. Like I was just like, this is his best song. Like, I mean, he went through, like, if you watch the Genius documentary, that concert is in the documentary.
Wow.
Like, I'm probably somewhere in that line.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When they show people lined up to go in. Because I was standing close to the front. That was his best song. He ended the night with that song. And that was the first time anybody heard it.
What was the crowd reaction? Like, was the crowd like, what was that?
Everybody went crazy. Like, the beat came in and it was just like, it was like, what is this? You're like, what is this?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? And it is like, so it's like me growing up in church. I'm like, yo, this is crazy.
Yeah. Did you tell people about that? Like, did you be like, yo, this kid Kanye West got like a Christian rap song?
So I remember one conversation I had particular with my dude Money. We called him Money Man. His real name is Bernard. He went to college with me and we used to talk about music all the time. And I remember I told him, I said, bro, this dude Kanye is gonna sell 2 million albums when he comes out.
Oh wow.
I'm like, this dude has something that nobody else got. And I'm like, I can't even really explain it.
Yeah.
And it's like nobody believed it because he a producer. Like, bro, like all the people there that night, it wasn't. None of us were there because we were Kanye West fans. We were there because we were curious. You know what I mean? And it's like, the SOBs is right around the corner from Hot 97, where Hot 97 was located at that time. So, I mean, you had some of the people from the station was there. I mean, this wasn't like, this was just like all fans. This was very much people from the industry who were curious.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, I mean,
but do you think to a certain level that song would have had the impact that it had on the culture at the time? You get what I'm saying? Like, we didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, you can't. I mean, here's the thing: you can't. I mean, at least I can't. You can't predict the impact something will have.
Yeah,
you just know it's dope.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, I just felt like I was just like, this is like the illest song I've heard in a minute. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like I grew up on that style of hip hop. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, this is different. And I'm like, I didn't think the radio would play it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, cause it was saying Jesus in there.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, this song is amazing. And I think the fact that he released it as a single, it was like the third single off of College Dropout. It wasn't what he came out the gate with. You know, obviously Through the Wire that told the story, All Falls Down, and then he does Jesus Walks. And so it's like, you're already used to him at that point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
do you feel like Jesus walks was a double-edged sword though? Like, and the reason I'm saying that is because I feel like it was dope, but at the same time, it was like, man, I could live, I could talk about Jesus, but still do my thing. You get what I'm saying? Like, because even when you listen to the lyrical content of it, it's like, Lord help me while I'm trying to get these packs through. You know what I'm saying? Like, it still was kind of like a dichotomy of good versus evil. And I feel like sometimes people be like, yeah, Jesus is my homeboy. Because remember, them shirts came out at the same time. It was like, yo, Jesus is my homeboy. But did you feel like that was like the song was going to reach so many people that, you know, a revival was happening? Or was just like, it's just a dope song for got Christian themes? You know what I'm saying?
I definitely wasn't thinking about revival because if I'm honest with you, I was in a similar space spiritually at
Got
that
you.
stage. Like I
Got
was
you.
still going to the clubs. Like I was, you know, I was going to Cheetah Club. I was going to 4040. I was going to like all those clubs back then. And then I
Wow.
would go to church on Sunday and I even joined the choir.
Oh,
And so
wow.
I was still trying to figure out holiness,
Yeah.
our relationship with the Lord, what it looks like to be a Christian. You know what I mean? And so when
Yeah.
I say I sat, it's probably not all the way accurate. I didn't sit. I was just not a public figure.
Got you.
You know what I mean? I wasn't
Yeah.
actively pursuing music and a career. I was just trying to figure out what my faith journey looked like.
Got you.
And I always felt like even because me and Kanye are around the same age, you know what I mean? He's
Yeah.
around the same age as us, bro. And he grew up in church too. So
Yeah.
I've always been able to kind of relate to his story in terms of like, man, this is a dude that's just been trying to navigate his faith the whole time.
Yeah.
And I can tell you just straight up, if I would not have read that book by Mace at that time, and I would have ended up DJing at Dream. And I also didn't tell you this. There was some conversations that I was having with the radio stations in DC about doing mix shows.
Oh, wow.
If
Okay.
that stuff would have started happening before I read the book and decided to give my life to the Lord, I think it would have been a lot harder for me
Oh,
to
wow.
walk away
Yeah.
from that because of how bad I wanted it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't judge anybody in the industry who's trying to navigate that because I
Got you.
understand it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'm one of the, I mean, there's some people, but I'm one of the few definitely from our generation
Yeah.
that actually had a real career in the mainstream before giving their life to the Lord.
Got you.
And
Got
so
you.
I understand that tension
Yeah.
because it's your livelihood. Like, you know, I mean, it's a whole other separate thing, but even when we've seen so many pastors fall recently,
Yeah.
and then they want to go back to the pulpit, and I'm
Yeah.
like, that's all they know how to do.
Yeah. Yeah, that's real. That's
Like
real.
vocationally,
Yeah, that's real.
this is all a dude been doing for 30 years.
Yeah.
And now we're saying he's disqualified. And I'm not saying there's not stuff that disqualifies you. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
But what I am saying is I also understand the struggle of like, but this is all I know how to do. All I know how to do is preach and teach. And
Yeah.
like, you tell me I can't do it. So how am I supposed to feed my family now?
Yeah. Yeah, that's real.
So
That's real.
I'm not saying it justifies it. I don't want people
Yeah.
to misunderstand what I'm saying. I'm just saying sometimes I think we need to show people a little bit of empathy. And so
Yeah.
just going back to your question about Kanye, I definitely at that time wasn't thinking about it sparking revival. I was just like, I relate to this song.
Got you.
Like, I get this.
Got
And
you.
I think sometimes, man, like people like, I mean, Kanye make, you know, we see this over the years. Like Kanye makes music for how this is how I express myself. It's almost like
Yeah.
therapy for him. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You know, he's
Yeah.
like, I said Tribe Called Quest. He's like Fife Dog. Fife Dog was like that.
Got you.
Fife's verses were always, this is how I feel at this point in time.
Yeah. Yeah. I always said this, and this is just a really hip hop thing, hip hop question to think about. A Tribe Called Quest
Yeah,
plus Mace
yeah.
equal Kanye West.
I 100% agree with that. 100%.
Yeah.
100% agree with that. And I think up until that point, you weren't supposed to like artists that were that different, because remember, there was the whole backpacker,
Yeah.
shiny suit divide,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
And so you're not supposed to like Tribe and
Yeah.
Mace
Yeah.
and Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg and
Yeah.
Tupac. Like, it's like, no, like, if
Yeah.
you like Tribe, you got to stick with Tribe and De La and the Root
Yeah.
and
Most Def and them Common.
Most
Yeah.
Def, Common, maybe Erica Badu. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But you can't like Mace and Puffy and
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Because they was an anti-establishment.
It was anti-establishment, bro. That's a
Yeah.
good way to put it. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think also too, back then it was one of the things where it was separated. It was like we real
Yes.
hip hop
Yes.
and they commercial hip hop.
Yes.
We
Yes.
we for the people, they for the profit. You know what I'm saying?
That's why when Kanye came with the Louis book bag, it messed everybody up, because it
Yeah.
was like, nah, you supposed to have a JanSport, dog. Like, you're
Yeah.
not supposed to have not the Louis.
And then name yourself the Louis Vuitton Don.
That's what I'm saying.
Because you got you, but I think about this from this standpoint, bro.
Yeah.
There's so many people that, like, I always say this about Kanye and just being real. The reason why Kanye hasn't been canceled is because he has a fan base that's rainbow. It's like, and I'm not saying gay, I'm saying rainbow, like it's black, white, Hispanic,
a little bit of everything.
Everybody love Kanye almost to a certain, even when you don't like him and he come out with something, you be like, and it's hard, you be like, man, I can't stand this dude, but this song is fire. You know what I'm saying? And I think to a certain extent, I was disappointed in Kanye. I ain't gonna front, bro. Like the latest situation with Kanye, after he was like, well, Jesus didn't do what I wanted him to do, so I can't mess with him. I was like, man, come on, dude.
This whole past 2 years has broken my heart for Kanye, bro.
Yeah.
When Jesus, I mean, my kids would tell you, bro, I used to play Jesus is King so much, and I wasn't broadcasting it. You know what I mean?
Wow.
I wasn't broadcasting it. I played Jesus is King so much, and not because I thought it was sonically his best album.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, this is one of the most honest expressions of Christianity on hip hop that I've ever heard.
Mm.
And, I mean, listen, this is no disrespect to any of my brothers in CHH, but the reality is we get to a certain point, and because this is an industry, you feel like you have to make certain songs for certain, now I think that's changing. I think a lot of the music that came out this year in particular, No Big Deal's album, Harvey's album, Tory Deshawn's album, there was no formula with that.
Yeah.
Like those were not formulaic albums.
Yeah.
At all. Even Michael V, you know what I mean? He was just like, I just want to make dope boom bap hip hop.
Yeah.
I mean, but I think there's always a, man, I gotta have a single, I gotta have a club record, I gotta have a, man, Afrobeats is hot, let me do this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I felt like with Kanye, if you just listen to the words, it clearly felt like someone who was very early in their faith, and they were just trying to figure out, man, how do I express this joint?
Yeah.
And so it felt like, and I don't want to name names, but I know people who were in his camp, have been in his camp for a long time. He had people around him that was pouring into him even before before the public stuff. Like
wow.
even when he did, remember when he did man, why can't I think of the name of it? Father I Stretch.
Oh, okay.
Father I Stretch.
Off
yes.
Life of Pablo.
Yes.
Yeah, that album.
Kurt Franklin.
Yeah.
Somebody told me then, they was like, yo, God about to grab Kanye. Someone close to him.
Wow.
God about to grab Kanye. And I'm like, at that point, I'm like, man, he just did Yeezus, the project. Like, nah, bro. He's like, I'm telling you. He's like, I'm telling you. And then, you know what I mean? And so I think whenever someone denounces, right? Like we've had, you know, JR, Fanatic.
Yeah, man.
That stuff breaks my heart.
Yeah,
You know,
man.
going back 10 years, Jahaziel,
Yeah.
right? Like my heart is still broken from them situations. Still broken because at the end of the day, you know, the music is art, man. It's how we express ourselves.
Yeah.
It's industry component. So, you know, for some of us, it's how we feed our families as well.
Yeah.
But ultimately, man, I just want to see people go to heaven, bro.
Yeah, man.
I want to see you with that relationship with the Lord. And so
yeah, that's real.
That stuff just, you know, so going back to a couple questions ago, I never really thought about Jesus Walks being a song for revival. I just felt like this is a dude trying to figure out how to express himself.
Yeah.
With the things that he's thinking about and feeling. And I didn't even know that the whole background of him growing up in church at that point. But yeah.
Did you see him being in Newark walking? Like, did you see him around Newark? Because I remember in the song he was like, I lived in Newark.
I didn't, man. I think he was I lived on the south side, so I lived near Weekway Park when I lived there. And Newark is kind of one of them cities, even though it's small, it's relatively small for most cities.
Yeah.
You really stay on your side of town. You know what I mean? So we
Yeah.
didn't really, and I think, I mean, you know, if you know, you looking at his thing, I didn't know he lived in Newark until years later. I mean, he was in Newark all the time. You know what I mean? Like, that's where the industry was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he was, you know, he's in Baseline. He's, you know, he's in Def Jam offices. He's all of that. So, you know.
So, well, shout out to Weekway. That was our rivals. I went to East Orange High, so that was our rival. We used to have a Thanksgiving game.
Yeah.
And my mom's church, Clearview Baptist Church, is not that far from.
Your mom went to Clearview?
Yeah, my mom went to Clearview, man.
Bro, so yeah, that's on Chancellor Avenue. So I'm gonna tell you what's crazy is my longtime producer for my show, and he actually lives down here in North Carolina now too. Daniel Cody, he grew up in Clearview. So I'm almost positive your mom and his mom know each other because she was there for years, bro.
Yeah, and she still go there. My mom, she's dealing with some illnesses now. But,
definitely, they definitely know each other. His mom still go there, definitely.
Yeah. So,
bro, y'all had a. So I'm gonna tell you this. You might know who this is. I forgot who this lady is, what her name is, and so I apologize if she happens to see this. There was a youth pastor at Clearview. I think she was the youth pastor. But she was doing work with like the Legends tour or something like that.
Wow.
DMC and
wow.
Yeah, bro. I'm trying to remember. Cause there was an after school program that's like right across the street from Clearview on Chancellor, like across that little alley.
Yeah, which is funny because Clearview, back in the day, we started going to Clearview like in '92, like in the early '90s. Okay. And that place you're talking about was the church. Wow. There was a church, and then they moved across the street to the church they had now.
Bro, I didn't know you had ties with Clearview. That's crazy, bro.
Yeah, my mom still goes to that church, and they've been blessing her ever since. So yeah, but man, talk about the first. How did you start Wado Radio? Like, how did that come about?
Man, that's a great question. So, I went to another church in Newark called Metropolitan Baptist Church, and there was a brother there named Charles Williams. And he worked for CBS in New York. Wow. He was one of the producers for the evening news show. And I basically got this idea. So this is around early 2006.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I want to start a podcast because I wanted to get into radio, but I was just like, man, Hot 97 ain't going. They not gonna put me on the air. Shout out to my brother Tony Tone.
Yeah, Tony Tone. I was happy when I saw that, bro. I was happy when I see that.
Yeah, that was seeing him on that platform. was, I mean, it warmed my heart so much. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So much. But I was like, man, Hot 97 ain't gonna let me. Power 105, they knew, they definitely not. They
Yeah.
Clear Channel, they, or iHeart now. But I was like,
Yeah.
they not going. And I said, man, I need to start a podcast.
Wow.
And my thing was, I wasn't trying to start a podcast, and this is my word, bro. I was not trying to start a podcast because I was trying to blow up. I didn't even think that was going to be possible.
Yeah.
I really wanted to reach my friends
Mm.
because by that point, Cross Movement, R. Swift, Jay Johnson, like there was so many artists that was just feeding my spirit with their music. It was almost
Mm.
like long-term discipleship. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Lecrae, you know what I mean? Lecrae had Real Talk at that point. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? The 116 compilation. Like all of those projects that came out around that time
Yeah.
of dudes who were around my age, it was speaking to me.
Yeah, it was.
You
It
know what I
was.
mean? Like
Yeah.
it was speaking to me, bro. And so I was like, man, and when people would get in the car, we all would do it, man. We throw the CD on. Like I still do it with my kids, man. Like I turned up from practice last night, and you know what? I threw on Holy Culture, and my show is on, right? So
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm like, yeah, I'm like, that's Glorilla on that song. He's like, Glorilla for real doing a Christian? So I said, yeah. I said, she trying to express herself. This is the conversation we just had.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, you remember Derek Minor? You remember you met him before? I was like, this is his new song, just all the stuff.
Yeah.
So I was doing that then, right?
Yeah.
I was doing that then. And I was just like, man, if I could just do a podcast and just push it to my friends on MySpace, because I had a MySpace page.
Yeah.
I was like, man, who knows what the Lord would do to use that?
Yeah.
I was like, and that'd be fun. So I started talking to Charles about it because that was one of my homies. And he
Yeah.
was like, bro, I got a little studio in my basement. I said, what? He said, yeah, man, just come to the crib. So he live in West Orange. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So
you took that number 24?
no. I drove over there. I had a car. So I went over to Charles' crib, and sure enough, man, the basement, he had a little makeshift studio. And I mean, basically, I would go there on Sunday nights, and I would do a show. And so there was like some pre-work that I would do. So it's funny, I got this Rodecaster. I had a thing that looked almost exactly like a Rodecaster called
Wow.
a Cord D12 back then.
Okay.
And you could record on it.
Wow.
And I would record a bunch of stuff at my house, and then I would take it to Charles's crib, and we would put it all together for the podcast.
Wow.
And so then once I put out like 2 or 3 episodes, and I said, yo, I'm gonna drop these every week. I put out 2 or 3 episodes. My youth pastor said, yo, man, I'm hosting a concert at Nyack College.
Okay.
So I said, cool. I said, who's on this concert? He said, man, The Truth is headlining. I said, what? He said, no, it's this afternoon. He said, man, I think you should come, and you could probably try to interview some of these artists. Bro, that was the first time I met The Truth.
Wow.
AR,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Alex Medina. I don't know if you remember him. He used to produce, work with Reach Records.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? He was in a group.
He's a LeBron fan now, but LeBron fanatic.
Working with LeBron now, bro. Yeah, he killing. He killing. But he always had that. He always had just so many gifts, man. So it doesn't surprise me that he's doing what he's doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. So I went to that concert, and that was the first time I met a lot of them. Wow. And I remember when I put that interview out with The Truth, that was the first time that I felt like people that weren't just my friends started tuning in.
Oh, wow.
I did an interview with K Drama around then, and this is like pre-Air Jordan K Drama. I was in Columbus, and he was doing a show. It's funny, he was doing a show literally in this mall called Scarborough Mall. And I didn't remember this. Taylor and Kristen remembered this. I met Taylor and Kristen Gray that night.
Oh, wow.
That was back when they had their group. You know what I mean? And I guess they opened up for K Drama, but I was there to interview K Drama, and I met them, and you know what I mean, all of that. So I'm just saying all of that to say, bro, like sometimes, man, it's just them little small steps of faith, bro.
Yeah.
And you know, I always owe so much to Charles because I mean, I mean, look, bro, I didn't know how to do any of this, and so he produced every episode up until the Tonex interview was the last episode that he did.
Wow.
And he was basically like, he's like, hey, bro, like, I think you can do this. He was like, you need the creativeness of doing this yourself. And it wasn't like he was like, he wanted to keep doing it, but he just knew, was like, okay, there's another level this guy can take this to, but he's got to get into this and really fully own this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Wow.
And so yeah, I mean, we did that Tonex interview. I remember he helped me bleep it out. So for those of you, so Tonex was one of the, I mean, he might have been the biggest gospel artist at the time. I mean, I feel like the gospel industry has kind of erased him from the industry, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But it happened. And those of us that was there, we remember him, bro.
Bro, O2.
Yeah.
Out the box. Like he had I was I ain't gonna front, I was a fan of Neuro Inc. His whole crew. Like I was a fan of them. Because to me, his production reminded me of Timberland so much.
Very
like
much
he had like he was creative outside of really out the box. And when I remember him coming on your show, and I remember like people saying, yo, Tonex wilding he wilding on way up. Like hey, not bro, wilding, like he going at you, but like him saying stuff like you never probably had to beep anybody doing an interview prior to him.
Never. So what had happened was he had put out a song called "The Naked Truth." Yeah, and I think the challenging part of what he was going through in life, his father died. The people at the church basically coerced him into taking over the church, and he didn't want to do that.
Got you.
He was also wrestling with his sexuality.
Yeah.
You know, he had just had some things happen to him. I'm gonna just say that and leave it there because it's his story, not mine.
Yeah.
And so he was wrestling with all of that.
Yeah.
And he was having issues with his record label. Then he puts out this song called "The Naked Truth" where he's cursing in the song.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so everybody, you know, he puts it on his MySpace page, I think. And then I think he takes it down and everybody's like, oh my, what is happening?
Yeah.
And so here's the crazy part. I didn't have a relationship with Tonex. I think I've maybe talked to him a couple times afterwards. You know?
Wow. Yeah.
I was supposed to interview someone else that night.
Wow.
It was like a Thursday night or something, and that person canceled. And I don't remember who it was, honestly.
Got you. Yeah.
That person canceled, and I remember I was talking to one of my friends online. I was just like, man, I don't have a show for this week. And they said, man, you should try to get Tonex on the show. Everybody's talking about him right now. And I was like, man, I don't know him. He said, man, just hit him up and see if he'll say yeah. I sent him a direct message on MySpace. And he called me.
Wow.
I left my phone number. He called me. And I was not expecting him to call. I didn't really think it was him initially. And he's like, I'm ready to do this interview right now. Because I used to do my interviews on my cell phone. Like, you know, this is pre-Zoom and everything.
Yeah.
On my cell phone, and I would connect it to the Cord D12. And so I would run him on one line and I'm on another line with my microphone. And that's how I did the interviews. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And so then I got real cute later on. I figured out, I said, I did the interviews on the phone with the person and and they were tracked out, but I would have the other person record their voice and send me the audio and I would put them together.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? That's a whole other thing. So Alex Faith, shout out to Alex Faith.
Yeah.
Alex Faith used to do that for me in Atlanta. So anytime I interviewed someone in Atlanta, they would go to Alex's studio. He would record it for me, send it to me. And that's how it always felt like we was in the same room. So that's a whole other convo.
Wow, that's dope. That's dope.
Yeah. So with the Tonex thing, we get on the phone, and the second time, and he's like, "You don't mind if I curse, do you?" And I'm like, you know what I'm saying? I said, "Hey man," I was like, "Man, just do you, bro." I was like, I think right now people just want to hear your story.
Yeah.
And so if that's how you want to express yourself, man,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And I think I'm gonna say this, bro. I'm glad I did not tell him not to curse, because I felt like that made the interview feel more authentic for people.
Got you. Wow.
You know what I mean? Now, obviously, it was controversial because, you know, the stuff he was saying, but I think it gave him a comfort level of like, man, let me just be myself in this. This dude is not going to judge me. This is a safe space.
Yeah, let me share my heart.
Let me share my heart. And I think that's what I think he needed that first and foremost. He needed
you. Yeah.
I didn't realize that at the time. I wasn't mature enough to really understand that.
Yeah.
I was always thinking about my listeners.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I was looking at it from a standpoint of they need to hear the authentic him.
Got you. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so,
I
mean, that interview, I guess if viral existed back then, that interview went viral, bro. Like that was the thing that made people know who I was.
Wow.
To this day. Like there's still people that I meet years later and they're like, "You did that Tonex interview."
Wow.
Like years later, you know what I mean? And so
did you feel like yours had the same impact as Lexi's? Like I remember at the same time Lexi's. Oh, okay.
No, mine was first, but Lexi's was video.
Got you. Okay.
You know what I mean? Okay. Lexi's was video. Lexi was also on the Word Network.
Yeah.
So she let me put it to you like this. She reached a much wider Black church audience.
Yeah.
But I think I reached a much younger demographic, which is what I was always going for.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I remember she saying that he didn't I think the label didn't want her to put that out or something of that nature. I mean, I'm not sure if I'm 100% honest, but know about that. But I remember something of that line because that was when he first said like, that ain't no struggle, like it ain't no struggle, like And I think from that standpoint, people was like, oh snap, you know what I'm saying? And then honestly, I remember hearing the song on Nigga Truth, and then he said something about because at the time, G. Craig Lewis was going at everybody. and he said something about him in that because they were going at him because like I remember watching one of his messages, and at the end he started talking about Tonex, and how he like hid the word masturbation in the song and all this other stuff. And I think he was going at him like, yeah, man, y'all don't know what that man did to me, da 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 da.
Right.
And I was just like, ooh, man, you know what I mean?
Yep.
So yeah, man, I think that's just the craziness. But I feel like the talent that he had, bro, and still has, honestly, man. If I mean, he's going about something totally different now, but he's still a talented person. I mean, the gifts are without repentance. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, he's a talented producer, and songwriter, singer. You know what I'm saying? So one day, I mean, I'm sure, man, God's gonna capture his heart again, man. You know what I mean? He's not too far from the Lord. I think God can bring him back. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I think sometimes we just don't know what people are going through, and that we're hearing that when people leave the church or people fall away from the church is because they're dealing with some type of hurt. You know, I mean, I know what it's like to lose a father. You know what I'm saying? I know what it's like to lose a parent. At times it hurts. Sometimes you may have to or you try to bury it, or you want to talk to somebody or whatever. But you know, especially if that person is your lifeline, that's a whole different thing. So, but I mean, I think for him, man, the music was undeniable, though. You know what I mean? We talking about this boom of Christian R&B. He was like Christian R&B, gospel, hybrid, and sometimes hip hop too. You know what I mean?
I think, bro, I'm gonna try to say this without crying, bro.
Yeah.
We condemn people too much, man. And
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people that don't want to come to church, don't want to be associated with the
Yeah.
church
Yeah.
because of how people have treated them in the past
Yeah.
and how they've seen other people condemned.
Yeah.
Jesus said he didn't come to condemn the world.
Yeah.
So why are we condemning each other?
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
That's true.
there's a measure of grace, there's a measure of mercy that God has extended to us. Why can't we extend that to other people?
Yeah.
And again, I haven't talked to Tone in years. It's been years.
Yeah.
I'm not even saying that I'll watch his career like super, super close to
Yeah.
where I feel like, man, I know this guy. But just from my observation, the thing that has always kept him from fully embracing the church, I'm not
Yeah.
going to say the Lord because that's a personal relationship, but
Yeah.
the church is the way people have treated him for
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
And I love the black church, man. Like
Yeah.
I've grown up in the Black Baptist church. I'm a
Yeah.
proud member of a Black Baptist church now. But the black church, especially, bro, we condemn people to no end, dog. If
Yeah.
people is doing things in a different way than what we think they should be doing them, our first reaction is to condemn them, bro.
Mm.
I've seen so many people critically injured
Mm.
spiritually, emotionally, psychologically because of how the church has treated them. And we as a body have to do better.
Mm.
We have to
Yeah.
do better. Like
Yeah.
God has given, I mean, listen, bro, the amount of mercy, the amount of grace that God has extended to me,
Yeah.
there is no reason for me to be condemning anybody because God
Yeah.
could have cut me, bro. He could have cut me off so many different points, bro.
Yeah.
When I first got saved and was hitting the clubs, he could have cut me off.
Yeah.
When I was in college and I was DJing in all these clubs in DC and people was trying to get me to go to church and I wouldn't go, I was refusing, he could have cut me off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When I've had points in times in my life where I've struggled with pornography, he could have
Yeah.
cut me off.
Yeah.
He could have cut
Yeah.
me off, bro.
Yeah.
When I treated people a certain way because, I felt like I was wronged, he could have cut me off. He never did.
Mm.
He never did.
Yeah.
And so how can I then not extend that same grace to someone else? How can I not do that? And I think that is where we miss it in the church. And so someone like Tone, who's gone through what he's gone through.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's made all the best choices in the world and
Yeah.
hasn't
Yeah.
had. I'm not saying that. We've
Yeah.
all had that though.
Yeah.
I'm just saying if he showed up at your church tomorrow, not you personally, Jeremiah, if he showed up at your church tomorrow,
Yeah.
how would he be received?
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
the first thing people would say is go back to all the stuff he's did in the past. This is who you were.
Yeah.
Or would it be like, man, our brother has come home.
Yeah.
Let's
Prodigal son.
rejoice. Let's
Yeah.
let's get the fattened calf.
Yeah.
Right? Let's get
Yeah.
the fattened calf for him. Or
Yeah.
will we be like the prodigal son brother? Like, yo, why y'all getting the fattened calf for him, yo?
Yeah. Yeah. I think sometimes sometimes as Christians we figure out how to live this, and we rejoice when people do come, but we try to change them. And I
Yeah.
think we can't try to change them. We can disciple them because a lot of people need discipleship. We could disciple people,
Yep.
but I think what we miss is like let God do the work.
That's
Let
it.
God cleanse. Because the problem is when we cleanse, they fall away.
Bro.
You know what I mean?
I'm so glad that, like I said, I wasn't discarded.
Yeah.
I wasn't condemned. I wasn't judged. I was encouraged. I was prayed for.
Yeah.
I was shown mercy
Yeah.
when I was in my sin.
Mm. Wow. Wow. Yeah.
I'm thankful that that was my experience.
Yeah.
That's not everybody's experience though. And I
Yeah.
think as a body, we just have to do better at helping people have those kinds of experiences when they come to us in their brokenness.
Yeah. And I think I think sometimes we don't know how to handle brokenness with people. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Because we don't want the ugliness of saying we're imperfect.
Right.
You know what
Right.
I'm saying? Like we
Right.
are imperfect people. We're not
Right.
perfect people. You know what I mean? We
Right.
strive for perfection in our attitudes, the way we try to carry, the way we want to live out for Jesus. But as a human being, we have imperfections. And
Yeah.
I think the problem is we can be the sad part is when we get saved, we are like the disciples. But when we stay in the church for so long, we become Sadducees and Pharisees.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And we lose our edge. So it's like, prime example, it could be like a young lady who was in the streets and she was doing God knows what. She gets saved, and for years later, 10, 20 years later, she loved the Lord. She's not, but she's become judgmental. So when she sees somebody that look like her, she's like, I want to grab her up, but at the same time, it's like I don't know how far I need to get to her because some people may think, you know what I'm saying? You care about what people think.
Yeah.
So it's a lot, bro. It's a lot, and I feel like the black church can do better, and I think the newer generation understand that. The only problem is this. I would say this way though. I think the only problem is too is that we see a dichotomy of like like it's a difference when a sheep is going astray and messing up, but we have a lot of wolves in sheep's clothing too, bro.
Yes. Yes.
And the scary part about wolves in sheep clothing is a lot of people follow wolves in sheep clothing and they let them
Agreed.
do whatever they want to do. And that's
Agreed.
the scary part. You know
Yep.
what I'm saying? So that's the dichotomy of it. It's like, yes, if Tone came back, yes, 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 yes. You know what I mean? But at the same time, who's going to disciple him? Who's the right person to be around him to help him grow
Yep.
and become the man of God that God has called him to be? That won't be like, yo, you tripping in that? Oh, you good, bro? You know what I'm saying? Like on that kind of vibe, because you still need discipleship is tough, bro. Like I remember when I was going through my own ordeal with stuff, and somebody discipled me. He was like, "Yo, you dealing with that? Give me your VCR." It was like on some real like you
Hmm.
gotta hate your sin. And I
Hmm.
think sometimes people have the real heart, the right heart to say, yo, you gotta hate your sin. It may come off wrong, but
Yep.
they in the right place. You know what
That's
I'm saying? It's a right place. But at the
good.
same time, it's still you can't you discipling me, but you're not Jesus. You can't cleanse my heart because I could fake this discipleship all day. People could do that all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, and what I mean by fake discipleship, meaning like if me and you were discipling, you're discipling me, and you like, Jeremiah, how's this? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine, bro. How's this? Da da da. You got my code to my phone and everything. But if I'm smart enough, I can go around that. You know what I'm saying? So certain stuff has to be
You got to
you
allow
want
people.
it. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but what going back into what was another like interview that was like people was talking that you did that people should know because this is a history lesson, bro. You giving out history today.
Yeah. There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
I think, you know, I think, I think about, Flame's interview
Okay.
with, when he put out that song Number One Spot,
Okay.
and him and Lecrae were having their issues.
Yeah.
That was definitely, I think, a moment because prior to that, they were thick as thieves. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
They, were touring together, had songs together.
Yeah.
And so, I think that was probably one of the first times that people really experienced conflict, like
Mm.
real public conflict like that.
Yeah.
Um, I think back to like some of my early interviews with Esso, you know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like, that was really the first time people were getting a chance to hear from him. And he was, obviously all the way in the UK.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? He just like getting to know him. And, now obviously he lives in the States and he's getting ready to plant
Yeah.
a church. And, it's just a lot of stuff. I think I mean, it's a lot of joints, man. I mean, listen, bro. I think when you guys came to Ja Rockin',
Yeah.
right, and you know, I think at that point in time, a lot of us content creators. I mean, we didn't really call ourselves content creators back.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
we were.
Yeah.
We knew each other, and I think there was always like mutual respect, but we
Yeah.
weren't working together, creating content together.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think for a lot of people, that was a moment. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I know it was a moment for me. Um, I think when Derek Minor left Reach, when Show Barack,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
having those conversations with all those guys
Yeah.
and people just I think just understanding like starting to see like, okay, like this is ministry, but there's also a business side to this.
Yeah.
There's also a personal side to this because these guys are all friends.
Yeah.
So I think uh there was an interview that I never put out that was, and I actually feel like I deleted it, but it was when Theory Hazard left
Humble Beast.
yeah, Humble Beast.
Wow.
It was Humble Beast. Because I mean he was with Braille with hip hop is music too. So I had to think and just
Oh,
make sure
gotcha.
it
Yeah.
was I think
Yeah.
it was Humble Beast. He was on
Yeah.
Humble Beast. When he
Yeah.
left Humble Beast, I think to this day they've never really talked about it publicly.
Got you. Okay.
But there was some stuff with that I just did the interview with him, not knowing all the stuff, and he started talking about the stuff.
Wow.
And I was
Wow.
like, okay, I can't put this out without
Talking to Braille or somebody
talking
like that.
to him about this.
Yeah.
And so I think, man, like, you know, one of the things that you just learn in this is that sometimes the way things appear on the surface are
Yeah.
not how they actually are. And not that people are disingenuous, although sometimes there is some disingenuousness, but I
Yeah.
don't think at the core people are disingenuous. I think it's just sometimes you're just like, do we need to let everybody in on this?
Yeah. Yeah. That's
You know
true.
what I mean? And
That's
so
real. That's real.
you know, so I think back to some of those. Uh I mean, I did an early Harvey interview.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think I think about some of those joints.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, man. I mean, when you're doing this for like, I mean, it's coming up on 20 years.
Wow.
20 years next year. You know what I
We need
mean?
an anniversary show. We need like a Wado Radio 20-year anniversary party event. We got a space in Atlanta. If you need a space, Trackstar's got a space.
Yeah.
We need an event, man. That's huge, bro. Like, I don't get like, okay, I watch documentaries. I'm a big documentary guy.
Yeah.
Stretch and Bobbito meant so much to people, bro. Like,
Yeah.
I watched their documentary, and the names that came through there
Yeah.
are legendary,
Yeah.
iconic names. And to me, I'm like, it's a lot of people in our space that need flowers, bro. And you one of them. So I would love to see like an event, like you, even if it's Atlanta, North Carolina, whatever, an event, or even Jersey, an event of people coming supporting you for what you did to the culture of Christian hip hop, bro. That
Yeah, I
needs that.
appreciate that, man. I've definitely thought about that. Just doing something to just kind of not so much that I want flowers, but I think just to celebrate what God has done.
Yeah,
Because,
man.
like I said, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, when I started, I never really thought I was gonna have a career doing this. That was not.
Wow.
This was literally, I want to help my friends hear this music that's blessing me. And
Wow.
when I did that Tone interview, that's when I decided to do it full time. And I had done, I think, 29 podcasts. And I had so I don't talk about this a lot, but
Yeah.
I was working in corporate America at that point in time for a company called, at that point it was Alcatel Lucent. It started out as Lucent. Alcatel bought them. you know, I'm still with the company now. Nokia has bought Alcatel-Lucent since then.
wow.
But
wow.
I had in 5 years, I've been promoted 3 times, doubled my salary.
Wow.
Like I was doing well. Like truthfully, if I would have stayed on that path, I'm probably an executive. You know what I mean? Not
executive
even
waiter. Yeah.
But that wasn't where my heart was.
Yeah.
You know I mean, it wasn't where my heart was.
Yeah.
And so you know, I left not even really knowing how I was gonna make money doing this. I just felt like, man, God wants me fully focused on this, and so I'm gonna trust him.
Got you.
So there was some hard times. You know what I mean? It was some hard times, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. And I'm thankful.
Yeah.
Extremely thankful for the journey and what God has done, the people I've met, the lives that people say, man, like this blessed me or that blessed me, or you know what I mean? Like, I mean, there's some people, you know, we talking about the interviews. There's some people, they don't even like my interviews. They just want me to DJ. They like my mixes, and you know, I'm cool with that. Like, you know, I love all of it. You know, I love all of it, and so yeah, man.
Yeah, man, it's been a pleasure, bro. This been good, and yeah, man. Before we get out of here,
okay,
it's this or that time.
Okay,
so you ready?
You told me this was coming.
It's coming. It's coming. Here. It's here. All right, man. The first, this or that. You ready?
Okay. So I'm just choosing one thing. You're going to say,
I'm gonna say one, or I'm gonna say two things. You just gotta choose one.
I know this is gonna be hard. I know you.
It may not be. You may be like, oh, this is easy. Okay. All right. Columbus, Ohio.
Okay.
Or Newark, New Jersey.
Great question. I'm going to say Columbus just because that's where I was born.
Got you.
And that's home. But it's a tough one because I lived in each of those places about an equal amount of time.
Yeah.
And so I always say I grew up in Columbus. I learned how to be a man in Newark.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You know what I mean? And so and not that you know, like my dad or, you know, my church didn't teach me how to be a man, but I moved from Columbus when I was 18.
Got you.
And so, you know, my most of my adulthood was spent in Newark, New Jersey. You know what I mean? And
that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. I love them both dearly. I really do. Like I love them both dearly.
Yeah.
But if I could only choose one, I'm gonna go Columbus.
Got you. Okay. Yeah. The next one. Barbecue from Ray Ray's Hog Pit or soul food from the headquarters?
That's tough. I'm probably going to go soul food.
Soul food? Okay.
I'm going to go soul food. You know what I mean? Now, I will say this, though. There's a spot out here not too far from me that does barbecue, but they got some soul food with it.
So, oh, wow. That's good. That's a good combination.
Yeah.
That's a good combination.
Now you asking me this while I'm in the middle of a Daniel fast. So
I'm fasting too, brother. So I'm fasting too. All right. Branch Brook Park or Weequahic Park?
Oh, Weequahic. I'm South Side. Okay. Branch Brook is a better park. Yeah. Branch Brook is a better park. Like, make no mistake about it. Yeah. But I've had some great times in Weequahic. Like just the memories, that walking track over there.
Yeah.
You know, the calisthenics park, they've done a whole bunch of upgrades since I've moved from there.
Gotcha.
So if you're asking me which one should you visit first if you come to Newark, I'm going to tell you Branch Brook. Because you know, it got all the tourist stuff. It got the cherry blossoms and all that. But from just a functional standpoint in my community, definitely. I mean, I live steps from Weequahic.
Got you. Okay.
Yeah.
A pork roll from the local bodega in Newark.
Okay.
Or an Italian cheeseburger from Sandwiches Unlimited.
I'm probably not really a big fan of either one, to be honest with you. Right. So I'm going to say neither. Okay. And I'm going to drive to Philly and get a cheesesteak.
Okay. Yeah. Take that what? Hour and some change, Rob, for Philly?
Yeah. About an hour and 45. I'm gonna hit that. And I'm gonna tell you which one I'm gonna go to though. Like, and it's not even a famous one. I'm gonna go to Larry's off of City Line Avenue on Drexel campus.
You know what that sound like? That sound like the Cross movement. You did a show in Philly, and Cross was like, "Bro, let's go to this spot." You're like, "Yo, let's go to the one that everybody." Nah.
Hey, I text my man Osaze the other day. I said, "Bro, I was like, when we gonna meet at Larry's?" Because he used to. So he used to go to the seminary over there, Palmer. He went to Palmer and he worked at Palmer, and so we would go to Larry's all the time when I would be down there. Yeah. And so that was kind of our spot. And so I said, man, when we meeting at Larry's, and he's like, it ain't that far a drive for me. It's a little farther from you. I'm like, yeah, that was like 6-7 hours right now. So
got you. Yeah. All right, WHBC 8:30 a.m.
Okay.
Or WRDR, the Bridge FM.
Man, you done did your research, bro. So the Bridge was the first set of stations that I got on. It's owned by Calvary Chapel Old Bridge in New Jersey. I'm going to say WHBC 8:30 a.m. Okay. You know, I had great experiences with both, but that was my first experience doing radio, and I haven't told this part of the story. When I was in high school, Columbus Public Schools, and they still have this, they have these career centers. Mm-hmm. I wanted to go to the career center and I didn't get in. Wow. And I wanted to study radio, TV, and film. Got you. And I couldn't. And so that experience at Howard was my first radio experience, and it made me fall in love with radio. And it's crazy because this is, late 90s, early 2000s. Yeah. They had closed circuit TV. Wow. And so the station, you can only hear it on the campus. Like it was a low signal station, like 2-mile radius or something like that. But here's the thing, bro. You could watch it on closed circuit TV. Oh, wow. That's dope. So my senior year on my show, they put some freshmen with me. Yeah. And I used to DJ and they would talk on the mic, and I had the mic too. I do the Funk Flex thing. Yeah. And we started having artists from the school come up and battle live on the air. Oh, wow. And so that's crazy. Bro, that mug used to do numbers, bro. Wow. Like that's everybody crazy. Would be tapped in. Like, yeah. That mug used to do numbers because it started, and it's funny. I don't want to sidetrack this. It started because we brought an artist up, we were interviewing them, and they dissed somebody live on the air. Oh, wow. That person was watching and came up to the station. Wow. And they didn't come up to fight. Like they wasn't on some like, let's fight. They came up like, yo, let's battle this out right now. Wow. And so that just kind of became a thing that we would do. We would just schedule artists and just have them rhyme and battle. And you know what I mean? It was fun. It wasn't no tension, wasn't no beef. But that's crazy. Yeah. All right. A live DJ set or a studio recording? I think you always got to go live DJ set. Hip hop was meant to be performed live. You know what I mean? Like when they, when Kool Herc and Grandmaster Flash, Africa Bambaataa, all of them started doing what they was doing in the Bronx, there was no thought of recording this. It was live. And so, and I think, man, like, one of the things for us, even in Christian hip hop, we were talking about this the other day when we were on the phone. What makes this feel like a community is the live events. Yeah. That's what makes true. That's what makes it feel like a community. I mean, online is cool. Yeah. Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, all of that is cool. Like all of that builds a awareness. Yeah. Of our brands. It helps to identify your tribe, but there's nothing like going to a show and everybody there is on the same page. Yeah. That's real. So that's real. And I've done 1 million studio recorded mixes. So many, but it's nothing like DJing in front of people. Nothing like looking around the room and seeing, oh, they not feeling this. I got something for you though. Yeah. And I'm gonna say this, and it don't sound blasphemy, but God is a DJ
because he knows how to control the atmosphere.
Hey man, that's a word, bro. That's a word.
Yeah, I always said that in my heart. I'm like, God, I
Yeah.
got to be a DJ because
Yeah.
as a DJ, you control the atmosphere of what's going on. You can control, like, even to a certain, the sad party, even in second clubs, where somebody knows the night is over. Let me put on this.
Yep.
Somebody knows they're not, they're not responding. Let me put on this.
Yep.
If I want to start a fight in the club, let me put on, it's like controlling the atmosphere. And I don't think people realize that when you really think about it. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
But yeah. All right, man. Interviewing artists or producing mixes?
Probably at this stage in my life, I'm going to say producing mixes.
Got you. Okay.
I like interviewing artists.
Yeah.
But at the core, I'm a DJ.
Got you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
at
yeah,
the
yeah.
Core, I'm really a DJ. You know what I mean? And so
yeah.
I actually, the funny part is I learned to interview artists because I knew that would make my show better.
Got you.
Right? It wasn't.
Got you.
I'm not gonna say like I'm curious of their stories and all that kind of stuff, but like I'm naturally a DJ. Like,
got you.
I even look back at my life, bro. I was buying vinyl before I knew how to DJ.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
that's crazy.
Yeah.
All right. 2000 CHH or 2010 CHH?
I mean, you asking me, and I got this Dream Junkies hat on, right? So I think 2010s. I think the 2010s, you saw a vast improvement in the music quality.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some classic albums from the 2000s that I love. You know what I mean? So this is not a knock on that, but I think the 2010s was really a growth accelerator for Christian hip hop. I mean, I think you started to see, Lecrae's ascent went into a whole different stratosphere in the 2010s. I think obviously Dream Junkies, We Live as Kings, like that whole era,
Social
No
Club.
Big Deal getting started. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
RMG.
Yeah.
I mean, you just, so Social Club. Yeah, definitely can't forget Social Club.
Yeah.
Definitely can't.
Yeah.
I think you just you had I think there was some very high points in the 2000s.
Yeah.
I think you had more depth in the 2010s.
Gotcha.
Like just in terms of there were more really good artists. And I mean, here's the truth of it, right? The technology helped that, like Fruit Loops and being able to have a home studio.
Yeah.
Like all of those things helped that.
Yeah.
In the 2010s, whereas in the 2000s, you still had to go to a studio. Like, I remember when I first got started and I was going to Philly, there was two places everybody recorded. It was either if you were signed to Cross Movement, you recorded at their studio, or you went to Lamp Mode. Everybody in Philly went to those two places.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
New York, we all went to Ja Rockin'.
Yeah.
Most of us. My dude Chris had another Chris. He had a studio too that people went to. But see, New York, people don't have big houses in New York.
Yeah.
Unless you're rich.
Yeah.
So the home studio thing in New York took a little while for most people to really get. In ways like in the South, dudes start having home studios, 2008, 2009, 2010. You start making a little bit of money. Somebody like Thizzle, he's like, I'm gonna get a commercial spot.
Yeah.
Derek Minor, we gonna get a storage unit, put a studio in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we didn't have that in New York and Jersey. You know what I mean? And so dudes was still going there. But I think in the 2010s, there was just so many more artists, like quality artists. There was more projects coming out regularly than in the 2000s. In the 2000s, you still had to wait.
Yeah, you still had to go to the bus shop.
I mean, bro, how long was it between Cross Movement projects, bro, back then?
It's probably a couple years.
Years, bro.
Yeah.
Hey, bro. By the
Yeah.
time Lecrae came out, that boy was dropping every year, bro.
Yeah. Yo, I got 3 more and I'm gonna let you go.
Okay.
All right. You seen both of them at their peaks.
Okay.
Which one? Lecrae at his peak or the Truth at his peak?
That's a tough one. Is the question which one's peak was higher?
No, which one did you prefer at their peak? Like the music, everything that they was doing. Which one did you prefer at their peak?
Man. Okay, here's what I'm going to say. Here's what I'm going to say. The version of both of them that I think resonated with me the most was around the same time, but most people wouldn't say that's Lecrae's peak.
You saying Rebel? You saying Rebel?
The Rebel era. Yeah. And I get it. Like sometimes, like I'll listen to it and I'm like, I see why he says he was self-righteous at the time.
Yeah.
Right. So I get it. I understand now with all the stuff that he's been through.
Yeah.
Why he doesn't really love that version of who he was at that time, because he knows who he was.
Yeah,
like we got the music. He knows who he really was. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like he blocks, in my personal opinion, he blocks out real talk through Rebel, and he starts and tell people about rehabbing now, or church clothes to now. One of the two. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So which one? Which one? You don't know? You can't choose?
I think I'll probably listen to Lecrae more now than the Truth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I mean, I'm gonna say this though, bro. Like seeing the Truth open up for Kirk Franklin at Madison Square Garden, crazy.
That Hero tour. I went to that Hero tour.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was actually the first time I met him. I mean, he didn't know who I was. He was like he performed and he would just go walking around because you know what I mean. And I remember I talked to him that night, and I had met. He was going by Jay Silas then, and I kind of mentioned that. He's like, "Oh, you know Jay," you know, and so I don't think he remembered that though, but that was a big moment for me.
Yeah, I think people
he had that white blazer, bro. Remember that white blazer?
I think people don't understand, and I think so many people love Lecrae, and we love him too.
Yeah,
and I think people don't understand the people that been in it in the 2000s. Why we talk about the Truth the way we do? Because we're like, bro, y'all don't understand. This dude was on tour with Mary and Kirk Franklin, the hottest gospel acts at that time.
Yeah,
and his show, his part of the show wasn't weak.
Well, here's
you know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't like, you know what I mean?
This is the other thing too, though. We both grew up in the Black church, and so that hits a little different. I think a lot of people that you meet in CHH, they didn't grow up in Black church. They were, they might have got saved into a contemporary non-denominational church. You know what I mean? And so they don't have the same affinity and reverence for what that even means or meant. That we do, because that was our community. Like that was like the first time that I felt like, yo, the Black church is really rocking with CHH. I mean, we wasn't really calling it CHH. It was like holy hip hop or whatever we call it, in gospel rap, whatever. But that was like the first time I felt that. And then simultaneously, you had everything going on with Kenton Jones and Creflo Dollar. You know what I mean? And so I wasn't as aware of that because I wasn't in the South.
Got you. Yeah, man.
But though I feel like those two things, in terms of starting to bridge that gap, was significant. So I mean, I think, man, probably the music. I mean, man, it's tough, man, because I love all of their music. You know what I mean? Like even all of their new stuff, bro. Like you know, I mean, on the low, I mean, I'll tell you this, bro. I still buy a lot of these dudes' musics, even
Dope.
though for years dudes give me stuff free.
Got you.
Always have, bro.
Yeah.
I buy so much music.
Yeah. That's
But
crazy, man. Yeah.
so I mean that's a hard choice, bro. I'm not like it's a hard choice because when that early Truth stuff come on, I feel away. When the
Yeah.
early Lecrae stuff come on, I feel a, you know what I mean? It's a different,
Yeah.
it's a different feeling, man. So
I remember on Truth's last project, he said something around where he was like, "Yo, we should do a versus and then go on tour." I would pay to see the Truth and Lecrae on tour.
that would be uh, especially I think at this point with the catalogs they both got, that would be crazy, bro.
Yeah, that would be amazing. I would definitely see that.
It
All
would.
right, man. Christian rapper or rapper who is Christian?
Hey man, I got respect for both of them.
Yeah.
I've always embraced the Christian DJ title.
Yeah.
Just because I think for me, man, like I don't want to shy away from anything. You know what I mean? I don't want to shy away from anything. Although now if I'm truthful with you, sometimes I just tell people I'm a DJ and just let everything else do the talking. Because my faith is gonna come out instantly, probably in that same conversation. So you know, but I was more of the Christian. I was more on the Christian rapper side when that debate was really, really in its thing. And I think because I think a lot of the guys, if they're honest, the reason they were saying I'm a rapper that's Christian is because dudes did want to shy away from being associated with something. And they had their reasons for it. You know, I'm not judging them, but I think, you know, dudes did want to shy away from it. And I never wanted to be that, you know.
Got you. Yeah. So, that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, man. Last one.
Yep.
Podcast or FM radio?
I mean, I got to say podcast because that's what got me where I am. But for much of my career, I was simultaneously podcasting and on FM radio.
Yeah.
And so I do think there's something that's still different about the radio.
Yeah.
Than podcast, even though podcast is probably a more popular medium now.
Yeah.
I think radio is just there's something about when you turn the radio on in the morning and you're on your way to work.
Yeah.
And they're talking about what's going on, or when you get in your car and you're coming home from work and they're talking about what happened that day and you're hearing new music and they're debuting something or they're interviewing an artist. There's just something that's different about that than podcasts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I think for my career, I'm going to say podcast because that's like the people that supported my podcast for years. You helped make me into whatever it is I've become. You know what I mean? But I've always loved radio.
Got you.
Like just turning the box on and you know what I mean? And just you know.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I grew up of course in New Jersey, and Kiss FM and stuff. They were playing hip hop here and there and some other stations. But when Hot 97 kicked off,
different, bro.
I was walking to school and I had a Walkman, so I could hear Ed Lover and Dr. Dre. And then come home and then you hear Angie on the radio, and then you hear Flex at the end, and it was just like, or Bugsy in the 10-2 spot and all that stuff. So man, I understand what you're saying. It's nothing like telling somebody, hey man, turn on the radio. I'm on the radio.
I'm on the radio.
Exactly. That's huge. And it's harder because a podcast is like, yes, I'm on radio podcast. Yeah, that's dope. but it's nothing like saying, "Hey, turn this channel to this." And
Yes.
you can hear it. Because the
You can hear it.
podcast thing, I have to send you a link, or I
Yep.
may have to sit through a mix or whatever.
Yep.
But if
Yep.
I'm on the radio at this moment, I can go on the radio and you can turn on, and I'm listening to millions of people listening to me rap or sing or whatever. You know what I mean?
So I growing up in Columbus, you know, Paul Strong, Sean Anthony, the big man Kanata, those were all dudes that I looked up to. They were on the air there. I never forget the first time I was in New York and got to actually hear Hot 97 live. I remember I was there on a school trip and we were on like a big bus. And so I told him, I said, man, turn this to Hot 97. You know what I mean? I didn't realize at the time that you could hear Hot 97 in Jersey. I didn't know.
Yeah.
We were staying in Jersey. So we came through the Lincoln Tunnel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We came through the Lincoln Tunnel and we came out and I said, man, turn on Hot 97. I never forget this. It's in the morning and we're going on this trip to Wall Street, right?
Yeah.
And DJ Enough was spinning.
Wow.
And he was playing Biggie Unbelievable. And I couldn't believe, I was like, yo, this is a B-side record. Like, I'm just as a D, I'm like, this is a B-side record.
Yeah.
I'm like, Biggie died years ago, and they're just playing this on the radio. I'm like, bro, this is the greatest radio station. I was like, this is the great, and I'm like, it's 9 in the morning. I'm like, this ain't even like a weekend mix show.
Yeah.
I'm like, this dude is spinning Biggie Unbelievable at 9 in the morning, son. Like,
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Bro, thank you so much for being on Kingdom Ox. I'm excited, bro. This was a good interview, bro. I had fun. It was great, bro. Thank you for everything, man. This was good, bro. I didn't want to take up all your time. Sorry, but
good, man.
Thank you so much for it, man. Anything you want to plug, man? Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, I come on nightly, Monday through Friday, 6 to 8 on Holy Culture, Sirius XM channel 140.
Yeah.
You can also listen to us in the Holy Culture app. 24-hour Christian hip hop radio station. You know what I mean? And so I'm thankful to be able to, I think, man, just do something that, one, I love, but two, impacts people, and three, and this is probably the most important thing, hopefully it's building the kingdom. You know,
man.
That's really what it's all about, man. So, man, Jeremiah, thank you for having me, bro.
Yeah, man.
I'm excited for this leg of your journey. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, man, much respect on this, man. And so, yeah, man. So,
appreciate it, man. Follow him everywhere. Follow him on all social medias. You can follow us, Kingdom Ox, on all social medias. And man, thank you again, man. This was legendary, man. I can't wait to put this out, bro. I'm gonna chop it up. I tell people this. I chop up stuff, so I chop up things, and then
I'm cool. Yeah.
You got some good wisdom in here, man. So I got some good stuff to work with. So
thank you, brother. I appreciate it, man.
No problem. All right, man. Kingdom citizens, we are out. Remember, follow us on all social media. All right. See you later.